What does the NCAA do for student athletes? A huge group of folks that I want to serve are student athletes, pro athletes, so they don't go broke. That's the problem I'm solving, is broke. Only 3% have money at the end of their career, so let's change the pattern. Specifically, what I want to talk about is what does the NCAA do for students? Number two, how do students get paid in other forms of money? I'm going to break that down. It's more than you think. You'll be shocked. And what is NIL? So those parents of students listening, or if you know someone, they need to be watching this video, because how they're making their money right now, 99% of them, it's wrong and completely going to create a problem for their taxes. So let's get started. So what does the NCAA do for student athletes? Well, they provide them a college education, number one. So the cost of attendance is called COA, which means their housing, food. A lot of times high-performing athletes will have even a training table at some of the universities. The specialized strength, nutrition, recovery training, it's world-class at all levels. They provide for academic success. They do scholarships. They have tutors. I mean, the amount of support that student athletes get. They have sports psychologists for mental health and illness, which is enormously huge thing on the rise. During the pandemic, when those student athletes were shut down, I mean, it was totally detrimental. My son did with ESPN and one of his other student athletes, they did a It's Okay to Not Be Okay mental health initiative. And it's okay to get a sports psychologist and somebody to walk you through the 4 things you get to do as a student athlete: eat, sleep, go to school, and play ball, whatever you do. So it's tougher than you think. I've just watched my son play 5 years, and the commitment is enormous. The rigor is enormous. So what else does the NCAA do for students? So again, just healthy living. They make sure that they're provided for as food, recovery programs, nutrition programs, strength training programs. So a lot of just their health and mental health activities they provide for that. Exposure and experience. They open a lot of doors in their community for the guys not going on to, or the girls not going on to pro. So they'll make sure that they get jobs. They'll put them in internships. They have a lot of exposure. And then the boosters and the supporters of the universities usually open up big internships for them. So they open a lot of doors. They got a lot of traveling experience. A lot of student athletes have never really traveled before. So they have the opportunity to travel across the country, chartered private planes, chartered private buses. They get a lot. They get clothing. This is my son's second bowl game they're going to. The amount of stuff they get for playing in bowl games and paid for playing bowl games is enormous, but they're paid in either gear, they're paid in, like the last one, they got these beautiful rings as well. They got to pick out this whole list of, he got a ninja like blender for his smoothies, his protein smoothies. I mean, they have a whole list of things that you could get, those electric massagers. I mean, all sorts of amazing stuff. So it's not necessarily cash all the time, but the benefits are enormous to being a student athlete if you get those scholarships. So I would say the NCAA does a lot for their students and the athletes, and I got to put coaches and their wives in that category as well. They do a lot. Another thing they do is they prepare them in life skills programs. So every university has a different program, and it's called something different, but essentially it's life skills: how to do resumes, how to do your bio, how do you interview, they do a little bit of just basic money management, which is why I'm taking this on with such a rigor, because as you hear the rest of this video, you're going to be shocked where your money should be going, and no one's talking about it. Not enough people are talking about it. I shouldn't say no one's talking about it, but it needs to be loud. So number 2, how do they get paid? So I mentioned other forms of gear and clothing and, awards and all sorts of stuff that they have access to. So they have huge access. So the Student Assistance Fund is very valuable for the students who can't afford to go back home if they have a tragic accident. They actually will do some clothing or additional food supplements for the kids who can't afford it. There's a lot that goes into that. And again, it's not necessarily going to be cash. That's NIL money. But even NIL money is coming in the forms of other money, meaning other benefits. So there is a lot between scholarships and the Student Assistance Fund that is happening for those athletes. What is NIL? Before I talk about that, I want you to subscribe to my channel. I'm starting a new brand called Financial Fitness Trainers, where we are going to be very focused on coaches and the wives of the NCAA. We're going to be focused on pro, especially the transitional students that are going on to pro, and how do they begin to make some big money. They go from nothing to everything like that. And a lot of them, all but 3% go broke. So we want to solve that problem. And the student athlete, what's their experience? Because they do have time that they could do a side hustle. And what I've known about the student athletes that I've talked to so far, they do make money. They make a lot of different money. One of my students at Georgia Southern, I mean, he just got a $17,000 pressure washing contract. He's making on average before that about $3,000 to $5,000 a month in additional income up above the scholarship and the COA that, the NCAA and the schools, the universities provide. So it's a lot, folks. Now, we're going to continue this conversation, so I want you to subscribe to my channel, click the notification button, and even if the video isn't about a student athlete, it's about money and business, and you have to know those are life skills, in my opinion. So make sure you watch the video, get a journal, all you student athletes and parents, start making notes about what they could do. When my son was 18, he got an entity, right? He's become a partner of mine, not just my son. So I have business trips to see my son, and we have business meetings, which means there's a portion of that, and depending on how we do it, is all a business trip. So a lot of you are doing this incorrectly, in my opinion. And again, I'm not an advisor, I'm an educator. I just know the patterns of money and what is NIL to you and why is that critical. If it goes into a personal bank account, you're in addition to your scholarship, which is income, you have a tax problem. And I've seen more student athletes get NIL money, put it in their personal bank account, or borrow it out to their families or use it for their family. It needs to be in a corporate structure where you have to activate the tax code. So there's 81,000 pages of tax code. When you make this a business, a brand around the name, image, and likeness of an athlete, that is a business. The sponsor money, NIL money, goes into a company, and then they have business trips. They can write off their phone. They can write off their vehicle. There's all sorts of deductions that you start activating the minute you start shifting your life and the way you make money. So my response to most student athletes, coaches, and their wives is the money that you're making, which bank accounts are going into. So I'm a very foundational implementer of this at a behavioral level. How do you then pay bills? How do you forecast paying bills out of the company versus personally? So we really work on how do you behaviorally shift to live in these strategies that are totally supporting and advocating for you and your family. So stay here, watch the channel, share the channel with the rest of your teammates. Parents, share it with the rest of their teammates. This is critical information for you to do this right, or you're going to get upside down in a tax burden. The money's already spent. We've already seen that with many NIL students. They made money. They didn't save any for the taxes. No one talked to that they're going to have a tax burden. And they came up the next year, $800 in taxes, $1,600 in taxes, and they got to pay that. You could have done the whole thing wrong with the right structure. So stay here, stay tuned. We'll be back with more. If you want specific topics, put notes in the comments below. You can always go over to askloral.com, ask a question, make a request, say I want to talk to Loral personally, or talk to one of my team members about how we can help and advocate for you and your family to do this right. Talk tomorrow.